The New York Knicks were linked to several superstar trades even before the offseason began. But now, we're in the midst of the offseason, and the New York Knicks have yet to execute a trade for a superstar. But thanks to recent reports, we may understand the reason as to why. It seems that the New York Knicks did try to go after some of these stars, but unfortunately, due to one reason or another, they weren't able to execute a trade. We're going to break down all of this and so much more today on the Knicks Digest. One of the main all-stars tied to the New York Knicks this offseason has been Karl-Anthony Towns. But thankfully, due to a report that came out from Fred Katz of The Athletic, it seems like the New York Knicks are not interested in Karl-Anthony Towns. And for me, honestly, I could not be happier hearing these reports because I did not want Cat on this team at all. And thankfully, Fred Katz tells us that the New York Knicks don't want him either. According to Katz, the Knicks are not interested in trading for Karl-Anthony Towns. This is the exact quote he states. But it's not like the Minnesota Timberwolves are trying to tear their team down. According to league sources who have talked business with them, the Wolves have set a sky-high price on Towns too. So let me get this straight. Karl-Anthony Towns is set to make supermax money, 50 plus million, and it only goes up after that. So that's one thing about trading for Towns. So you got to think about the contract. But now you're saying that the Wolves are looking for a sky-high asking price for him as well? No thanks. I'm out. Karl-Anthony Towns is not the answer for the New York Knicks. I know his offensive gifts. I know what he can give you. I know as for a big man, the way he can shoot the ball and drive the ball, there's very few in this league that can do what Cat does. That's why the Timberwolves value him so much. That's why they gave him that extension in the first place. So let's all try to understand who we're talking about here. I definitely understand what Cat gives a team and what he brings to a team. But if you have to gut your team to get Cat, if you have to give up a superstar level package for Cat, it doesn't make sense. Cat is not a superstar. He never puts up superstar numbers when it matters most. He's never carried his team to any type of playoff victory. So if we're looking at those type of criteria for a superstar, in my opinion, Cat doesn't fit it. And if you're going to give up the house to get a player, I'm not going to give up the house to get Cat. Because you can make the argument, Cat and Jalen Brunson and whoever else you have left on your team after you make a trade of this magnitude doesn't equal NBA Eastern Conference Finals. Karl-Anthony Towns does not move the needle that much. He's a great player, and in terms of offense, he is a definite upgrade over Mitchell Robinson. Towns' defense isn't as good as Mitchell Robinson's defense is. It's not terrible. A lot of people try to peg him as a very bad defender. He's not a very bad defender. He's not as good of a defender as Mitchell Robinson is. That's true. But he's definitely not bad. And he's a way better offensive player than Mitch is. So let's get that right. However, he is soft in my opinion when he plays the game of basketball. Sometimes he avoids contact. He can't bang down low, even though that's not so much his game. As a big man, you need to have that inside, because if you have that inside out game, it just helps you and what you're trying to do, because that means defenses don't know what to do with you. And because you can shoot the three, they'll have to chase you at the three-point line going all the way into the paint. And if you can get your assist numbers up just a little bit more, you could probably make your team better. And I think big men who know when to pass at the right time is a very rare type of player to have. There are not that many people who can do that. I think he can be a Joker-like player in terms of passing the ball, because I think he has a high level of IQ of understanding where players are. So I do want to give him credit on that front, and I think he can get better with that if allowed the freedom to do so. But I would not trade Cat or give up so much to get Cat, because you got to think about the contract. And if they're wanting significant assets back for Cat, like I said, he's not the superstar you guys think he is. So if you add him to this team, he doesn't make the Knicks, in my opinion, better than they were last season. If anything, they might have to compete with themselves to see if they were better than last season, because I don't think Cat moves the needle that much. In my opinion, he is not the right player right now for the New York Knicks to trade for, especially if the asking price is going to be sky high. Apparently, the New York Knicks tried to trade for Zach LaVine, and when they explored the trade market for him, they realized that he had a very high asking price. According to Fred Katz of The Athletic, New York made contact with Chicago about Zach LaVine, but the asking price was gigantic, as told by one league source. So the New York Knicks did try to go after Zach LaVine, even though he is rep by Clutch, and we did hear by recent reports that his agency did tell him not to go to New York. So that's one reason why Zach LaVine is not a New York Knick. But another main reason why is apparently when the New York Knicks went to go try to trade for Zach LaVine, the price for him was giant. I don't know what giant means, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and think it meant RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, maybe 3 or 4 first-round picks, 2 of which are unprotected, 2 of which are probably top 10 protected, of things of that nature, essentially meaning that all of those picks would convey because the Knicks would be good enough for those picks to convey for the Bulls. So I think that likely might have been what the package was. And if that's the case, I would have bowed out too. Because not for nothing, Zach LaVine, for everything he does and how good he is for you, I think if you're giving up a lot of assets for him, he might hurt your team rather than help it. Now, RJ Barrett being in the deal is the only thing that hurts it for me. If we could figure out a way to take RJ out of that deal and perhaps figure out another player to be there or work around some other protected picks from other teams that we have, maybe I'd be more inclined to do this deal because I recognize the type of player Zach LaVine is and what he provides to any team he's added to. So don't get it wrong. If he's available for the right price, I would love to add him. But at least according to this report, he is not available for cheap. It's going to take a giant type of trade package in order to pry away Zach LaVine from the Bulls. And if that's the case, I'm out. I'm very happy, actually, for the New York Knicks doing this one thing here. I am so happy for the Knicks taking a patient approach with not giving up their entire war chest of assets for any player available. I think sometimes being too patient may be an issue, so I don't want to speak on that front too much yet. But what I will say is this. Past regimes would have traded for Paul George, would have given up the farm for Karl Anthony Towns. But Leon Rose and company are not doing that. They're patient with that approach. Sometimes I agree with some fans, it might be too patient. So I understand that. But he did not make a superstar type of trade by gutting this franchise. And it seems like, according to all the reports coming out from around the league, the Knicks are looking to build their roster patiently and steadfast on giving up any type of significant assets on superstars in this league. They have a price they're willing to pay, and they do not want to go above that or exceed that. When they walk in the store, they have $100. And if the bill is $101, they are walking out of that store, they're not coming back. Because at the end of the day, their price is what their price is. And that's all they're ever going to give up in a trade for a superstar. If you like it or you don't like it, I get that. But you have to at least understand it and understand where Leon Rose is coming from. The New York Knicks have been fleeced as a franchise for at least the last 2 decades. And now it seems like Leon Rose and company is putting a stop to that and saying, I may be patient, but at the end of the day, I also don't want to get fleeced. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.